The biggest elephant in the room is keeping quiet about what has happened to us in our pasts.
Heart to heart, rejoice. True stepping into the Zoom. Big love, bold words. It's the elephant in the room.
Good day, beautiful people. It's another day, another session, and I'm so excited to be here with Diana. We are both members of the Professional Speakers Association of South Africa, which are doing amazing work with speakers all around South Africa. And I've witnessed you MC at one of the events, and you were amazing. And it's lovely to have you on the show with us today. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Hi, Leigh Joy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for all of this, and all good. Let's do this and see where this takes us. And I'm very excited. And I must just tell you, you said you saw me emceeing on Thursday night. I'm actually emceeing for PSA SA again, but that will be in the Pretoria chapter and not the Johannesburg chapter this time.
Nice. Yeah, you've got a good lineup this Friday. It's Nikki Bush and
Kim Vermaak.
Kim Vermaak, that's it. A great lineup. Yes. I'm traveling on Friday, like at 2:00 in the morning. We're jumping in the car, so I've got like nothing. I'm not doing anything on Thursday night except for getting to bed early.
And make sure your bag is packed.
Yes, exactly. Diana, it's so lovely that we could chat. The show is the Heart to Heart with Leigh Joy, Elephant in the Room show, and we speak about the 4 pillars being dating, relationships, self-mastery, and leadership. And I know your journey through life has been something really remarkable, from how I've come to know you and how I've come to hear your story. And you've written an incredible book called Phoenix Rising, which Phoenix Within.
The Phoenix Within. The Phoenix Within.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. I think it would be a beautiful insight into why you've created resilient agility, the work that you do in corporates. What would you say is the elephant in the room when it comes to the Phoenix Within?
We always try and hide behind the phoenix. We never want that phoenix to rise because we hold on to the anger, the sadness. So, I think that for me is the biggest part. For myself, for the longest part now, this book, the Phoenix Within, Rising from the Ashes of Abuse and Trauma. For the longest time, I never spoke about my story of abuse and trauma. I hid that. And I just put a fake smile on my face, and I was like happy, and everybody thought like, wow, she has such a wonderful life. But people didn't understand the history that I had. So to me, with the Phoenix Within, the biggest elephant in the room is keeping quiet about what has happened to us in our pasts.
Yeah, because it kind of, the picture I see in pictures, so the picture that I get is it becomes a stumbling block for us, that when we're silent about what's happening for us. And I think, in this work that you and I do, right, and me as a counselor, I find that my main job is listening. So when I get into a social environment, I really want to talk because I listen most of my day.
Absolutely.
And I feel like sometimes people don't want to necessarily hear what I'm struggling with because it feels too overwhelming for them to deal with. And it's not like I'm trauma dumping. I notice that sometimes people struggle with that. So we live in a society where I don't know if maybe I misunderstand it, but I wonder if you experience it as well, where people don't really want to talk about negative stuff. They just want to talk about positive stuff.
They do, because it's almost like if you don't speak about it, it doesn't exist, but it does exist in the subconscious, and it still controls our lives. And that is where the biggest problem is, because people don't speak openly. I know how much healing writing this book has brought me. the other day I read it again and I'm like, wow, this woman, what the heck? How did she stay in this relationship? And then I'm like, wait, this is your story. So now I can look at it from a different viewpoint. And it's like, wow, is this really somebody's life? But that made me realize how much healing I have experienced by speaking about it. Okay, in this case, it was writing about it. But when you let it out, don't bottle it up. It's not going to disappear. It stays within you until you allow that phoenix to rise and realize you do not have to stay stuck with this information. Because what happens is, my first husband cheated on me. Then the abuser also cheated on me. And I'm like, there are no good men out there. All men cheat. So then when I met Vic, in one of my first conversations, after he asked me if we are in a serious, committed relationship, I said to him, just one thing. If ever you think you're going to cheat on me, there's the door. Get out. You don't even have to say a word. Just get out, because I'm not dealing with that again. And it was like, wow. I never thought I would say something like that. And I did. And that was what gave me freedom as well. And it let me go of that hold that I had onto all men cheat, because not all men cheat. There are good men out there. And the same go for women. Not all women cheat, but there are women who cheat.
Yeah, for sure.
And
the stats are pretty equal on that. The stats are pretty equal on men and women cheating.
Absolutely. But because we are women, we think it's only men that do it. But no, women also cheat. And it doesn't mean because you're cheating, you are a horrible person. I had a lady in my life at one point, a friend, and she got divorced because she cheated. But I didn't know that when I met her. I only found that out a couple of months later. And I was like, I thought all people that cheat are horrible people. And here you are, and you are actually such a lovely person. And I'm like, thank you for opening my eyes. Because we walk around with these glasses that we call judgment. And because somebody has cheated on me, all cheaters are bad people, full stop. But until you start looking at it afterwards, there's always reasons why they cheat. And if they cheat, the relationship is not right. And no matter what we try and do, you cannot convince them to stop cheating. Once they've cheated, they will do it again because the relationship is not right. So why sit with a cheater? Move on. There is somebody out there that's better for you. That's my opinion on this.
Yeah, Esther Perel she's written a book. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Esther Perel. She's a Belgian Jew that does amazing work in the relationship space. Please go have a look at her stuff if you're not familiar with her. And one of her famous TED Talks is called Mating in Captivity. She wrote a book about it. And she talks about why people cheat and how they cheat and how one can what kind of person would it be a good idea to stay in a relationship even though they've cheated if they have these certain qualities and these certain things that they're doing in order to heal that rift. And she talks about how relationships actually go on to become even more powerful, even more vulnerable and authentic after someone has cheated. But there has to be work that both people do.
And it's so true what you said as well, is that in the work that we do, people often see us as these completely healed people that don't have any issues, and life just doesn't happen to us. It only happens to them. But what they forget is that we are human beings as well, and life happens to us as well. And just because we help others as well deal with their problems doesn't mean we don't have problems. We also need others to listen to us so we can express and get the healing that we need.
Yeah, for sure. I say that often when I'm on radio, and then people mustn't think I'm some guru sitting on a mountain with all the answers. I've had an enormous amount of experience, and I'm able to sit at the fireside with people and help them navigate very difficult and traumatic experiences. But it doesn't mean that, I've got it all waxed. Like, my friends will often say, when they say if I struggle something in my relationship, my romantic relationship, they would say, my best friend would often say to me, Leigh, what would you tell a client? And I'm like, I can't jump into that brain because I'm not the client, I'm not the
Yes.
counselor, I'm the person that this thing is who is experiencing. So when she says that, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me get out of me and into the counselor. And what would I say? And then I can do it.
Yes.
But also in relationship, my partner is not my client. So how I speak to a client is infinitely different to
It's
how I speak to my partner. So yeah, I say that I'm learning to fly as I fly, like it's an on the job learning experience.
Something you said now, it reminded me of on Saturday, Kim was without Wi-Fi. So she came and she quickly came to do her finish off the slides that she needed for before Saturday evening. And she came to me and she sat here and I made her comfortable at my desk and she sat on my chair and I said to her, can I pop a cushion behind your back so you can be comfortable? And she said, that would be lovely. And I said to her, I never thought about that for myself because we always tend to think, what would the answer be that we would say to a client? But we never think on how it could make our lives easier when we start practicing exactly what we tell people.
People,
So
yeah.
it's little things like that. Yeah, because it's so easy to say, but Leigh, actually, the only way that you're going to resolve this is if you start walking on your hands. And then I would think like, but I'm not even walking on my hands, and I'm supposed to resolve this issue because
Mm.
we look at there's no mirror in front of us when we say that,
Mm.
but that mirror should actually be there so all the information can be reflected back to us as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I often say that I do the work of the Holy Spirit, and I don't always get it right. Sometimes my own being steps in the way, but I often try and step aside so that the Holy Spirit can do the work through me. And often something will be said through me that I needed to hear, that I'll be like, wow, that's so profound. And I can see it touches the person, my client, and I can walk away and go and share it with the people that I love, this wisdom that's come through. So, yeah, I feel like I may be counseling and coaching others, but I'm feeling coached and counseled
Yes,
too. So
absolutely.
it's very rewarding work. And yeah, I'm keen to go into corporate to go and speak about vulnerability and this thing of what is the elephant in the boardroom. I saw that
Right.
on online the other day. I thought that was so cool. And that's the kind of work you do, right? Is resilience and
Yes.
leadership work within corporate.
Right. Yes.
And I wonder, what would you feel is the elephant in the room with regards to in the boardroom, with regards to leaders?
If I can speak about my own personal experience in corporate, there's a lack of communication, and it's almost like all the different levels of pedestals that has been put in the office, and it's like, which pedestal are you on? You on the bottom one. People look down on you. They don't see you as the human being that you are. They don't see the abilities that you actually have, that you can bring to the company, or that you can. It might be something so stupid, so simple, but they always tend to look at like, oh, we need to get all these glamorous things. But what if it's just one simple change that you can bring in that can make such a massive difference in your business? And people don't want to speak about it because if you are not top management, then what you say has no place in the business. But maybe that is exactly where the answer needs to come from. Because, management, their focus is different to that of the people that actually work in the business. They work on a different level. They run the business. They need to look at the figures. But when it comes to the physical work that needs to be done, it's different people that do that. And those are the people that they need to start looking at as well to see, what are your ideas? How can we make this work better? But if they didn't come up with the idea, they believe it cannot work.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's that Brene Brown's work around vulnerability and being authentic, and what is the expense of being vulnerable and authentic, and where you talk about being seen. I think that is a need for all of us. Every single one of us wants to be able to be seen, and that what we bring to the world is something significant in our value. And when there's the picture I get is that people are bracing in corporate because they're too scared to be vulnerable because there's a cost to be vulnerable. There's either you're going to be bullied or people are going to take advantage of you. These are perceptions. People are going to take advantage of you, or you're going to be passed over, for promotion or whatever. So it's almost like all these masks that are showing up in a lot of places in corporate. So it's very hard to build robust conversations when you're dealing with masks. So that's why I get high churn in some companies, and leadership is not recognizing the person. There was somebody, a client of mine told me about someone last week, and I forget his name, but basically he started this company, and what he did is he had the subordinates employ the manager, and he had reversed reviews. So the subordinates reviewed the managers, not the managers not only the managers reviewing the subordinates. And he built the company that the subordinates basically, he was edged out of the business because his role as CEO, he was better in another role. So instead of him clinging to this role of CEO, he then stepped into a more foundational, charity place where he was able to build, I'm sad I can't think of this business, build a massive business around the world. And I think that style of leadership and that style of vulnerability and authenticity is so rare. And I think I love what you do, because I know that that's part of what you do, is talking about the elephant in the room and in boardrooms, and talking about resilience, because there can't be resilience if there isn't authenticity.
Absolutely. And so many people have forgotten how to be authentic, because you're one person at home and you're a different person at work, because you put on the uniform that fits you for the day. And something you said about this business that I absolutely love is that the subordinates also review management, and that hardly ever happens in companies. It's always from the top reviewing down, but never from at the bottom reviewing up. So that can be so powerful, because even though you are in management, you are a human being, and people do see your flaws. But if nobody brings it to your attention, how are you going to deal with it? You cannot fix something if you don't know that it exists. And if nobody tells you, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, beautiful. Deanna, I can chat. We have to do this again. You have to come on again. I wonder, could you think of one tip that you could give somebody with regards to being resilient and agile?
Show your emotions. Don't hide it. Because by hiding it, you're blocking healing. But when you show it, you can get up again and you can move forward, and people will understand what you're actually dealing with rather than thinking, oh, she's just in a bad mood. No, she's not actually in a bad mood. She is in serious grief today. And grief doesn't just happen when somebody dies, or a dog or a cat or whoever dies. Grief also happens when you move home, when you start a new job. There are so many different ways. So if you don't tell people exactly what's going on within you, they don't understand. So be resilient, be authentic, but don't keep quiet.
Because over the weekend, I had that experience where I was able to share how I was feeling about something. And I said to the other person, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're making me feel this way. I am just feeling this way. And I was able to pour out my heart about this feeling. And this person responded so differently than before because they didn't feel attacked. And I didn't make them take ownership of my feelings because I was owning my own feelings. And it was such a healing experience. And I was able to get the feedback from the person that I really needed. But what I did do before I phoned them is I gave myself permission to have my feelings. I said to myself, you're allowed to feel this way. God doesn't feel this way about you. God loves you and honors you and respects you. And so go and speak to the person that you're feeling that is, that where you're feeling disconnected from. So it was a very powerful experience. So yes, I resonate with that.
Well done on doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, because it takes courage. It takes courage to go and share vulnerably what our feelings are, because we're scared we're going to get shut down. But I think it wasn't just powerful that the person I was speaking to had heard me and affirmed me in a way more powerfully than I expected them to, but I'd affirmed myself first and foremost by saying I'm allowed these feelings. And so standing up for myself in that way was a very powerful healing experience because I took my own pain seriously.
Correct. Absolutely. And it helps because otherwise you just bottle up, and what happens with all the stuff that we bottle up? It creates illness in the body.
We get resentful and yeah, exactly. Yes. So if we talk to Ndlovu today, our friend, my co-host in Ndlovu being Zulu for the elephant, and as I said earlier when we were off camera, that he is my co-host, and he is a he because I wanted a masculine voice alongside my feminine voice. What could we ask him today? I like your resilient agility. Maybe we could ask him, what does he believe resilient agility is?
Let's hear what he has to say on that.
Joy, the reed bends when the river rises, but the root does not let go. That is the dance, to move when the world moves, yet remember what holds you to the earth. The ancestors did not stand rigid in the storm, nor did they scatter like dust. Resilient agility, Leigh Joy, is the baobab in the wind, old wood, new sway.
Oh, wow. How beautiful is that?
I'm going to send it to you. Yeah, I'm going to send it to you on WhatsApp.
Please do.
Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, thank you for joining us today. And thank you for your journey. It's not lost on me what it's taken for you in your life to say yes to and say no to, and get up from and lie down from, and get up again in your life to be able to sit here today, write a book about it, and go and help heal, restore, and uplift the world. So I see you. And I thank you on behalf of all those that you've touched and all those you're yet to touch. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Leigh Joy. The same goes back to you as well.
Thank you. Okay, beautiful people. I hope that you enjoyed that episode of Heart to Heart. I really feel my heart is full, and I can do this day in a way that aligns with being authentic and vulnerable and resilience, getting up and knowing that my roots are strong, but my but my mind and emotions can sway, right? Can move, and the way that we do that is by sharing. So please have a look at our membership site. The lounge is open, and there are different options available to you. It would be so lovely to have you on board. Thank you for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. And I'd love to hear your comments on today's podcast and what you feel is resilient agility and how has that shown up in your life. To have a beautiful day. Bye.
Real talk. There's an elephant in the room. Heart to heart.